Hello?
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Okay, good evening all and welcome to today's class. We have been on this journey together since the Linux introduction, and then we had this kind of opportunity to discuss about how to use SQL while in the Linux terminal. Because we notice that many organizations utilize structured form of data. That means data that are stored in tabular form, rows and columns. And to be able to work with this data, the way we would work with them differs. Linux commands can't really help us to achieve that. You have to bring in the SQL queries. And from what we have learned so far, we have seen how SQL functions. We have seen the prominent or most important commands and the way we ought to write them out. And with that in mind, we can be able to obtain any form of information that an organization have stored in their database. We can be able to pinpoint the exact thing that we need without burdening ourselves with a lot of information. Information can be stored in such a voluminous way that you can't know how to find your way around this. But because information is now in a structured format and we have the SQL handy, we can be able to extract what we need and mix the whole information that are in our database. And as organizations, I know whether in IT or in healthcare or in whichever industry, store their data in that exact format in structured way. So as that demands that as a cybersecurity specialist, you have to master the skill of using SQL, even if it means the basic skills, so that you could be able to retrieve information that is in a structured format. And that was our discourse as of on Tuesday. And we are continuing that discourse. Meanwhile, there are still practicals which will help us to balance the theoretical aspect of what we have been doing. But I just hope in due course that today's topic will be able to take us from where we are to where we want to go to. That is to finalize on this SQL fundamentals for a cybersecurity specialist or an enthusiast. So today we are talking about the use of SQL in Linux OS 2. So if you are all with me, can I get a thumbs up? So that we will ride on, given that we have started this topic up. All right. And then you can scroll down so that we take it out from there. Thank you. You can go down the slide so that we continue. So we are saying something about the SQL query commands, which is one of them is select, which is a very important element because without select, we can't be talking about what we are trying to obtain from the database. So select is one of those commands that are needed in order for us to pull what we need. So we have to select, and what are we selecting? We are selecting the columns that we want to appear. We are selecting the columns that we want to what appear. So we list those columns. At times, you might not need all the columns on a particular table. So you just have to say, I need these particular ones. And with the select, it helps us to identify those columns that we need. Then, after the select comes the from. Where are we getting these columns from? Where do we see these columns? So if you are instructing somebody in your day-to-day activity, you are being specific on what you plan to do. So when you are telling somebody, oh, go and get me something, you are telling the person what they are getting for you. Those things can be items. Let's assume that you are sending your younger one, or you are sending somebody to the market, and of course there is what we call list. You tell them what you want them to buy, because in a collection of the market, everything that you can find in a market, there are various items, so you might not really need all the whole items in the market. Or if, let's say that it is a particular shop that you want to get something from, you don't need everything in that shop. You really just need the one that you want to pick up from the shop. So when the means by which you can be able to identify and say, this is what I need, I've already started the point of what we are doing in SQL, which is what, select this and this, buy for me this and this. From where do you want this person to get it from? At times we know that we have specific places things are being sold. They are not sold everywhere. So we have these preferences when it comes to shops, or where we come to locations where you want things to be gotten. If you want to buy an ice cream, you want to buy vanilla, you want to buy chocolate, all right. If you want to buy stationaries, there are shops, specific shops, because maybe you know them to do what? To be selling cheaper than every other shop. So you want to pick those things from there. So you tell a person, please, can you go for me to this particular supermarket? Get me these items, this item. So that is to say, your selection of these items is coming from a specific store, and that store is what we call the database or table per se in our what? Uh, in our SQL format. Select these columns from here. So when the person goes there, he can be able to obtain, because they know that the same person sells those kind of items they want to pick. So we know that this same person have these categories of columns that you want to pick out from the table. So after they select from, we can end the query. If we decide, we can just end the query, because maybe we have gotten what we needed. We just needed to select first name, last name, and email. Let's assume we want to forward our partners an email. So we just needed their first name and email. So as to forward them an email. So with the first name, we can be able to personalize it, and then with their email, it will reach them. So that's what we needed from the database. So it's okay to say select first name, email from where? From partners table. Maybe that's what we store the table as. And that would exactly be done what for us. That is how powerful that these queries are. And these queries end with a semicolon, as I was saying earlier on. It ends with a semicolon. It ends with a semicolon. All right. So another thing is, if it's not just okay for you to say what you need, like what you want to select from the whole bunch of this, you want to do something more. You want to maybe organize this data in ascending or descending order. You can be able to say, I want to do this. I want you to select this from this and this. Then use this particular column to organize this data in form of what? Rows, in form of, sorry, in ascending or descending order. So we have gone to another form of query, that is the order by. Then we can have this data alphabetically or numerically, in from the largest to the smallest, or from the smallest to the largest, whichever case it might be. Or we want to have it from the A to Z, or Z to A, that's if it's alphabet. So we have brought in another query, which is order by. But at times we still want to go beyond, specifically pointing out what we need. If you buy things from a shop, and you say, for instance, you want to go and pick what we call let me use, for most of you, since you are ladies and you are so accustomed to the cooking aspect of it, like you know more things than the guys, I can say that. So when you want to buy maggi, for instance, the okay maggi, so there are various varieties of it, so you need specific ones. So in the case of, you are saying select maggi as you need to do or reference the kind of margin you want to select. What gives us that ability to do those things is what we call the what? The where. The where condition. We now start giving conditions. See, if you go to Mama Nneka shop or if you go to this particular supermarket, buy for me Maggi. And you said, okay, buy for me onion. The person said, okay, buy for me this. The person will say, okay. So now you very specific. There was no condition tied to the item that you are calling on. But wherever you want to put a condition towards that item, you can now say, buy for me no Maggie or buy for me star Maggie. So you are not putting in a condition restricting the choices or the things that you want to be obtained for you. So in the sense that if that person goes to that particular shop and there is nothing of that such, that means they will return an empty what? An empty printer. They won't come back with that if they because you told them to buy exactly from this shop. So the same also applies in SQL. Wherever we put conditions where something is equals to something or where something is like something is looking like something, as we saw the like operator, that invariably conditions have kind of limited the kind of results and then made it more specific for us to obtain our information. And this is what we covered last time. And if you are with me on this, we can proceed further to start more on essential SQL data types. All right. Thank you. I've used what you guys are familiar with. All right. So let's go ahead. What are the kind of data types? When we say data types, data type simply means the format data can take when they are stored. The kind of formats that data can take when they are stored in a database. And these formats can be said to be what? Strings. Strings are more of combination of letters, alphabets, sorry, letters, symbols, numbers all together. So when we store those kind of combination, either alphabets only, alphabets, numbers, alphabets, special characters, they are referred to as string type of data. So the way we work with them are different from the way we work with other kind of data types. So when we now store information, something like one, two, something that is countable, we now say that that thing is what is in numeric what format. And then when we store something in form of date and time, like me keeping track of events when an event is happening, we can say that thing is stored or taking the data type of date and time. This doesn't mean that these are the only data types that are in our role of storing data. No, but these are the most common and obtainable that you'll be seeing during the course of you trying to query something from a database. Either that data was stored as a string. Can you mention some of the string? First name, last name, what is it called? Password. Those things are string because they are a combination of letter, alphabets, and symbols. But when we now talk about numeric, can you mention some of them? Age, how old are you? What is it called? How many years of experience do you have? Two. So years of experience, you store them as two. So what else? Those things that can be counted as numeric, they are belonging to the numeric data. Then we now talk about when an event occurred, which day, which time. Then we now say that this could be stored as date and time. Why is all these data types important? Because that is how we can be able to manipulate and get something from the database. Either those things we are stored in any of this form. As you know that when you talk about trying some your manager asking you, can you please tell me when what file when we created this file? Once your manager asks you such a question, you know they are referencing to date and what time. So when you are trying to query your database, you can be able to query and say, can you select this and this where date is equals to this particular date? Or where date is above this or less than this. So you have seen that this data types is working because those data type you write it in a specific format. The way you write date is not the way you write numbers. The way you write numbers is not the way you write strings. And so doing those query, you have to explicitly write those formats in the way those things are formatted in your table, you have to write them out that way. So if I'm talking about dates, I know I should put in the day, the month, and the year. If I'm talking about strings, I know I should talk about like exact thing. There shouldn't be anything like uh, uh, case insensitive. A B, capital letter A B is not equals to small letter AB. So let's be mindful of that when we talk about strings. And then numbers, we often know zeros to nine are the common numbers. Every other thing is a combination of zeros to nine. So those are the things. So when we are referencing age, we can decide not to put them in quotation mark because they are numbers. They are stored in a different line. So we can say print this for us or select this and this where age is greater than 10. So they are not put into quotation marks, unlike date and string that are put into what? Quotation mark. Are you all with me on this? If you are with me, can I get a thumbs up? If not, you can express your concern. All right, thank you. We can move forward. All right, thank you. So before then, let's talk about before we start utilizing this, we have known that there are data types and what they help us to do in SQL. It helps us in filtering. Can we talk about the operator that we use? The operator that will decide those types you want to say, please, can you do this for me? All right, let me let's go down. All right, okay, you can go ahead. Victoria, Veronica, Victoria, I don't know. You can say what you want to say. Yeah, raising up your hand. You can say something. I can't hear you.
Some things are in quotation marks. I didn't hear it. Or can you go back?
Okay, I said that strings are in quotation marks. You put strings in quotation. Anything that has a string data type, you put it in quotation mark. And date too in quotation mark, but numbers can't be in quotation mark. Is
Yes,
that
please.
clear?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that being said, look, so let's go back to something time to in quotation mark. Let's go back to something. It's only number that probably you will not see in quotation mark. Every other thing will be in quotation mark because of the way they are formatted. You can't be able to tell. Like, it's a concatenation of many things. Like number has hyphen, like 09 hyphen 08 hyphen 2024. So because of that way, so that it doesn't get confused as if you are typing numeric. So you put it in quotation mark and it will identify a strings also. So as not to avoid, like you might want to type Chinaka 07, as many of you used to use that in your email. Your email has a combination of cards. So not to mistake it for a numbers, you have to put it in quotation. It's only numbers that you don't put in quotation marks. So given that, I want to talk about operators that work with these data types because these operators are necessary. Let's go down to what you are used to. If you, as let me be using our normal cooking things, if you have tried to send somebody an errand to get something for you, to buy something for you, and then you don't told them, I think many of us have experienced this, maybe our parents, they will not tell you, and go to this particular shop. Don't go to the another shop. Make sure it's this particular shop. Don't go to any other shop. Make sure it's this particular shop. That's the instruction. That means they have told you where to collect your data from. Yes, where you need to query from. So you don't go and start looking for something where it is not. Go to this particular shop. Best reasons, note to them. Can you get Maggie for me? Star Maggie. So when they have become specific, right? Can you get for me Star Maggie? Or Indomie has different what is it called, brands. So they will ask you, can you get this particular one for me? And then as kids, we don't want to go to a particular shop and discover that goose is out of stock, and we have to come back and tell our mommy that that thing is out of stock. Invariably she will send you back and say, okay, go and do it. So then I know that the perfect thing I will always say is this: what if they don't have it? Right? So you want her to give a tutorial of options to work with. That's the narrative. Theory of options to work with. So she will not tell, okay, if they don't have star, buy no. If they don't have the buy, so she's now giving you options. So when you go, you check for the first one, is not there. You check for the second one. There must surely at least be one of those things that she mentioned. Variety of. So the same thing applies to SQL. That there is a way we could have operators that enable us to have multiple choice. It's not just that exact thing. It can be something like that exact thing. It can be something above that exact thing, or it can be something below that exact thing. So at times we might not want to find people that are just 18 years as we normally want to write. Okay, how do we know adults? Adults are 18 years. But that is not correct. Adults are people that are 18 years and what? Above. So in the sense we want to specify something that is not precise and exact, that it can be more or it can be less, then there have to be operators in combination with this data type. Oftentimes you want to find out an event that occurred after a particular date. Oftentimes you want to find out an event that occurred below some certain day. And oftentimes want to find out an event that occurred between two dates. So what enables us to be able to do that is what we call what operators. Operators gives us the ability to bring in diverse conditions so as to achieve our aim. Aside from knowing data type, you have to know these operators because your effective use of them will know how far you can go in order to extract the kind of data that you need to make informed decision. And how are these operators classified? We have what we call the comparison operators. The comparison operators have to bring one thing, more than one thing, and then kind of check it out, and then can be able to tell us if it's a true or if it's a false. So why it checks those things? It checks to ascertain about those two things that you bring. We make comparisons. We do that a lot. We want to say, what is it called, between this person and this person, who is the most brilliant, between this person and this person, who is it. So when we make those kind of assertions, when we do those things, we are talking about comparing. And there is also a way we can do it in SQL. We can tell SQL we want something to be greater than, if this is greater than this, do print it or give it to us. If this is less than this, give. So it's comparing the value that you have provided it with against what is on the database. So let's assume we want to know some certain event that happened today. We don't want to know the one that happened yesterday. So we can invariably say, provide us with this information of date, like the time 0000 is the start of today's date, and then the date, the time, and date, and you should provide us everything that happened from 000000 a.m. today. That's 12 a.m. as we often say. It will give us that event. So that is invariably what we are talking about. When we make those kind of things, we are bringing those operators to help to bring out the exact result that we need. And how can we classify these operators? These operators are not used alone. Of course, they are used with that class that we discussed the last time, which is the where clause. The where clause that helps us to bring in conditions. So when we say select this and this, where this, you're now bringing an operator. Is it equals to comparison operator? Is it greater than? Is it less than? Is it not equal to? So when we do those things, those are the comparison operator. And as you can see it, less than, greater than, equals to, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, or not equal to. So these are the operators, comparison operators we can bring in to be able to what? To be able to query out or get out the data that we what need. Then another kind of this operator is the between operator. This works when we want something not above. We don't want something below. We want something within a particular range. We don't want it to be outside of that range. We want it must be within this range. So when we do those kind of things, we need to use the between operator. So the between operator, we can tell it, okay, we want to know the series of events that have took place within this November that we enter. So from November 1 to November 7th. So we want to know what really happened to our system. So who are the people that logged in? Who are the people that did this? Like how this national grid is having an issue. Maybe you want to collect a data to know between November 1st and November 7th what really happened, so that we could know what caused this grade to 4. So that is the scenario of what we use the between for when we want to ascertain something between two particular variables. And another thing is another operator is a logical operator. This has to do with the ones that bring us to the truth and false scenarios. You have done Boolean operators. Boolean operators, something can either be yes, true, or false. It cannot be both true and false at the same time. There is no, it doesn't happen that way. So what operators make us or gives us the ability to do that? Oftentimes we want something to be this and this. So it must be this and this for we to ascertain. All right, at times we want to know employees who are what? Who are grade above 20, sorry, between 18 to 35 years and are in level 2. Level 2 simply means the rank of your promotion in a company. So when we have those conditions, we use the logical operators, which is the and. And is what brings it. This person must be between 18 and 35 years. And also, the person will be what? In level 2. So that kind of thing, being able to do it is with this kind of logical operators of what? And at times, it wants to use any of the condition can be true. So give me people that are 18 to 35 years or level 2. So when we do those kind of or, it will consider both people that are 18 and 35, and then they are not, they are either what? They are either level 2 or they are not in level 2. So when we use those kind of conditions, then we know that the or simply says something about it. Are you all with me on this? If you are with me, can I get a thumbs up? If no, can you express your concern? All right, thank you very much. So if you probably might not have the opportunity, you can still go back to your drawing booklet and start writing this, the what the and does. The and says something must be what? True, for it to be what? True. The or operator said either of the things have to be true. So both of them can also be true, but either of them can be true for it to both be true, or both of them can be true. But if both of them are false, it's false. So the same with the and, if both of them is false, it's false. The only condition for and to result to true is the two things you are bringing in are both what? True. And then the condition for or to be true is that the two things you are bringing in, one of them is true or both of them is true. Then the not is a reverse. If something is true, it will tell you that it is not true. If something is false, it will tell you that it is not what? It is not, it is true. If something is false, it will tell you it's true. So a critical example I can be able to set is the kind of one that we'll do when we want to ascertain those are who are products of a particular grade. Let's say products of people who have 70 and above, and they have attended lecture, 70% of what lecture we want to ascertain. So we want to know who are those that met the criteria, they passed this exam, they have 70%, and they also have 70% in exam score and 70% in their attendance. So when we want to do that, when we say and, that means it will only bring us out people that a minute. So as I was saying, if we use the and operator in that scenario, I want to be able to know those who attended classes, at least 70% of the classes, and still had 70% mark in the exam. I want to kind of know, is it true that people that always attend class are people that always make the best results? So I can use the and operator. When I get that, I can say, oh, the number is good though. Then I will now do people that attended 70% or 70% of what is it called? Was 70% of attendance or 70% pass mark the test. So I want to consider both either of the people who either made that 70% in their exams. Then even if they didn't make the 70%, but they passed the attendance, they will still be printed out. So maybe I wanted to kind of look at the data to evaluate and say, okay, let me know those that are up and doing both in exam and in attendance. I want to know everybody. So somebody can pass 70% in attendance, but they didn't get up to 70% in their exam. And maybe you thought of adding marks to them. So you wanted to see all the whole data. Since this person was able to attend a 70% class, probably why they didn't make or why didn't they reach 70% in their exam score is maybe some certain reasons best known that I think that they should have done. Maybe there is kind of mark that you want to award to people who actually met a certain grade. So when we use the or, we are considering both those who have 70% in attendance but didn't have 70% in exam, or those who have 70% in exam but didn't also meet up to the attendance, and then both those who have 70% attendance and 70% in exam. So that's what the or operator say. So what if you want to use the not, we want to see people that didn't even have up to 70%. So I would say not above 70%. When we say not above 70%, we are bringing in people that didn't reach 70%. Not give me people that are not above 70% in attendance. All right, Praise, you want to ask a question?
Okay, sir. This not, I've heard you say not and something something is true, but they are not on your slides. Is it that you're explaining others that are not here? Because after explaining between, then I don't know where this not and where they are part of, whether it's logical or under or they are separate ones.
Yes, they are under logical operators. That's why I'm explaining them, and that's why I'm explaining. They are under logical operators. I'm just saying not and or. They are logical operators. I said it before I began saying something on that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. So that is invariably how these things are utilized. So if you don't really master that while you were in school, you still have an opportunity now to still master it. That this is how it works. So as I've explained, if you are all with me, can I get a thumbs up? If not, can somebody raise up their hands to express their concern? Okay. Thank you. So we can move forward. Adanne. All right. Is this Stephanie? All right. You can say something.
Please, the and operator you explained,
Yes.
using this of 70 persons and the rest. Please, I don't come again because I think I lost you at some point.
All right, what I'm saying is this. Let's assume that there is two criteria I wanted to be able to give people an A in their course. First of all, I said they will have 70% in attendance and they must also have 70% in assessment. That is the only way I can give them an A. So that's the criteria I set as a tutor to give somebody an A. So how can I be able to filter that command? It is with the AND operator. So I will say above 70% in attendance and above 70% in what? In assessment. So when I say that, you must meet both of those criteria for you to have an A. If you don't meet it, you will not have an A. That is how strict and both of the condition must be true for it to hold. But in a sense, I say, okay, I want to give A to people that have above 70% in attendance or above 70% in assessment. I want to give them an A. So I'm considering people that whether you have 70% in attendance and you didn't have 70% in your assessment, you will still have an A. If you have 70% in assessment but didn't have 70% in attendance, you will still have an A. Lastly, if you have both 70% in attendance and 70% in assessment, you will still have an A. So when we use or, we are considering like one side of the equation. Once it's true, you are qualified. That is on the and the or. Then the not is like an opposite or the reverse of something. So if I say something is true and I add not to it, that means it is false. Not true. It is false. If something is false and I add not to it, it will invariably become not false. That means it is true. So what case can that be? I want to be able to know those who didn't make it up to 70%. I want to know the percentage. I can simply say not above 70% in attendance and not above 70% in assessment, whichever case might be. So these operators can be combined in whichever way. And can work with or can work with none. They can be combined depending on what you really want to get. Like the way I've been saying it, not 70% in attendance, not more than 70% in attendance, and not more than 70% in assessment. You can see I brought in the and operator, even though that I'm using not. So I can also do 70% in attendance and 70% in assessment, then put not to it. Once I put not to it, on a normal 70% in attendance and 70% in assessment should be what? Should be people that have above 70% in both, right? But now I put not 70% in attendance and not 70% in this. So that means not bracket 70% in attendance and 70% in assessment. Above 70% in attendance, 70 and above 70% in assessment. So when I attach not to it, it will do the reverse. So invariably you should have printed out the people that have above 70%. But I now put what? Not. It will not print people that have below 70%. So that's what not does, the reverse of something. Who was telling me somebody dropped? What about the at operator? I don't know about the at operator. I just only know about the and or I'm not operator. I don't know. Do you know any at? You can still enlighten us. I've not really used that before. I've not known about the at operator. For the person that dropped the comments, I think you can still speak up if there is something you want to relate to us. Be like, be open. We are all good to learn. What about the art operators? Adewara, you can say something. Have you heard about the art operator somewhere? Or did I mention it? I doubt if I mistakenly mentioned it.
You got to mention arts in the beginning. That was why I asked the question.
No, I didn't mention art. Art, I didn't mention. There's nothing like
Okay.
art operator. That's an English word.
Okay, I was told I heard art
Mhm.
operators. That was why I asked that. Which one is arts again?
No, it's an, not an. Or.
And okay,
It's
okay,
not
okay. I
and,
thought you said
and,
art.
and, and, A-N-D.
Okay,
O-R-O, and N-O-T, not.
not
So those are
okay.
mathematical operators we are used to. So that was why I'm bringing it in. Will I say if you know math? Everybody's supposed to know basic math. But just in case if you are not able to catch up, it's not still something bad. We all pick up something when we are ready or when we need it. So it's also good for you to still pick it up now than learn and know what it entails. Because it is going to help you to be able to query better. Yes, query better. We can't run away from maths. Even in cybersecurity, you can't run away from maths. You have to use it somewhere. Like basic maths, I'm talking about. Like these ones we are saying now. So, if you can see the image or you are still with me, can you give me a thumbs up? If not, you can still raise up your hand to express your concern. All right. Stephanie has been crying and she has left the group. I hope that her network is okay. All right, what else do we have? So if you can see the diagram, this kind of brings to light what I've been saying all this while. From the first diagram, is trying to show us how the AND operator and the between operator is used. Are you seeing that? It's telling us how the AND operator, you know, I told you operators can be combined, and we know that the between operator is an operator on its own that kind of try to bring in things that occurred between two events. All right, so you can see we needed to select first name, last name, and hire date from the employees table. That's what we wanted to do. We are hire date. That means the hire date is between 01/01/2022 and 01/01/2020. So we want to know the people that were hired. So they have stayed 1 year in the company, and we felt like we wanted to celebrate their anniversary. So as a cybersecurity person, they can ask you, can you help us to pull out this database? I know that these things is sounding odd, but you should, the person that should be doing this should be a system administrator. Yes, these are the people that normally work with command lines and operating systems. So it's systems admins. But at times you can see yourself doing those things. So that's why it's essential for you to know, especially this delicate data. These things are delicate data, they are sensitive, so they can be entrusted so that nobody will tamper with it and change some certain things like authorization and authentication. So they will want you to be the one doing it. So let's assume Praise joined our little company. Which company, sir? What's the name of our company? I don't know. Praise and Veronica joined our company, this little company we have here, and then they joined the 01/01/2022. And between that time, we wanted to celebrate their anniversary. So how do we be able to do that? This is how it's going to be. We want to select higher date between these days and these days. So it will only print for all those that were hired within what those dates, and we can now celebrate that. Oh, cheers to you. Cheers to you for being with us for this particular year, for everything we have achieved. We thank you, we appreciate you, and that's all, that's all. So far, so good. Yeah? So that's how it works. So that is the how the operators I'm talking about works. So if you come to the second image by the left, if you come to the second image by the left, you can now see the another comparison operator, which is the greater than. So you want to select first name, last name, birth date, where birth date is greater than this. So you want to know those that are getting old in our company so that we can start preparing their retirement benefits. So we want to know, oh, these people have been long, 97, they should be more than 60 years. So let's start planning for their retirement benefits. So we want to know, we want to keep track. So we know people that will replace and how many are living by this year. So you can do it. So this is an explicit example of how it works. Select first name, last name, birthday from employees where birthday is great. Remember, this command that you are seeing in lines 1, 2, 3 is to help us to better comprehend. You can type them out in one line. You mustn't be doing enter at each stage. Even though when you do enter at each stage, you can be able to still accomplish what you want. You can write them out in one line. But the purpose of learning, you often see it this way so that we could better comprehend. So that is on what I'm saying on the usage of these operators. Are you all with me on this? If that's so, can I get a thumbs up? If not, you can still express your concern. All right, so we can move forward then. I can't imagine we are still in slide 4 since what have we been doing? All right, okay, it's still fine. So but there okay, this is the person that was asking, but I've already explained this. Is there any need for me to still reiterate? This I've already explained. For the person that was asking me that I didn't put that thing in my slide, I know that I put it. I was just that I needed it to discuss it as a special thing. So, but I've already discussed it beforehand. The logical operator, the and or not, and then how we combine both of them together. Are you all good with what is on this slide since we have talked about it? Are you all good with it? Can we move on? If that's so, can I get a thumbs up? Look at the slide. I think I've said something on that. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so given this, you can see a table that better shows us what is like when these operators are utilized. So you can see we are trying to select first name, last name, email, country, support RIPID from customers table where support RIPID is equals to 5. That means we are now bringing the equals to, which is an operator that is what? Comparison operator equals to 5. That means it must be 5. And country equals to USA. This is invariably, bring back what I've said. I often told you that numeric data types don't have what? Don't have quotation marks. And you can see the 5 there doesn't have a quotation mark. And country, which is USA, is having a quotation because it is a word string. So when we use the AND operator, we are saying that these two conditions must be what? Met. So we are saying it must be equals to 5 and country must be equals to what? USA. And if we check our printout, every country is what? USA. And every country that is USA is what? Is having support RPID as what? 5. Does that better give us a better understanding of what we are saying? If that's so, can I get a thumbs up? Thank you very much. All right, so we can move on. Okay, so let's also look at the OR operator. So I was kind of telling you about the OR operator that either of the condition can be true and it will validate to true. So the case here, you want to print or you want to get information where country is Canada or country is USA. That means it will print if country is Canada or if country is USA. Either of them, once it's true, it will print. And as you can see from our print out or from what we are seeing on the screen, Canada and USA, we are both printed. But assuming we use the AND operator, we actually must ensure that the two conditions are what? Met. So, but here it will do the what? It will print either of the condition where it is what? True. It will not print anything if it's not Canada, and it will not print anything if it's not USA. So either of the two, or means any of them can what? Serve for what we what need. So does that kind of reinforce everything that I've been saying? If that's so, can I get a thumbs up? All right, thank you. So we can move on. All right, so here we are now seeing the NOT operator working. I already told you NOT operator negates is what it does, it negates everything that we ever thought about. So we are now saying country is equals to USA. So where the country is not USA, print it for. We don't want anything that is USA. We don't want any person that is coming from USA. Yeah. So we want to know people that are coming from other countries that are not USA. People that came to maybe we attended an event in USA, a cybersecurity tech hub event or cybersecurity meet and greet event in USA. And all the participants there, we know that the majority should be USA, but we don't want to know. We want to count other people that are coming from other countries. So we can say when the attendance was taken, you now want to see that after being typed in a database, where country is not equal. So we can be able to ascertain all the people that came that we are not from what USA, since it was their home country that the event was done. Are you all with me on this? If that's so, can I get a thumbs up? If not, you can still express your concern. All right. Thank you very much. So, okay, somebody's raising up their hands.
Please, can you come again? I don't understand this part.
All right. What I'm saying is, whenever you use not, something is not something. Just take it that way. When something is not something, like when something shouldn't be this, it should be another thing, right? That's when we use the not operation. When we want to get a reverse of something. So when I say, Ada, please, what is it called? Can you tell me people that didn't come from USA? Can you give me a list of people that didn't come from USA? The list you will present to me, will it have USA? No, it will not, because it asks for people that didn't come from what? USA. That is simply what the not helps us to do. So if we remove that not command that is attached there, where we say where country is equals to USA, that will print for us every record that has their country as USA. But so far as you have attached not USA, please don't print for us anything that is USA. Don't select anything that is not USA. Don't select things that are USA, sorry. Don't select things that are USA. That's what the not command does. Don't select things that are USA. You can select any other thing. Is that clear?
Okay.
I think there is an image. There is an image
Okay.
that is
Thank you, sir.
coming sooner that will help us. All right. How many people have done set? How many people have done set? Set. If you have not done set, I would like you to write on your paper. Let's do this. Set. That's a primary mathematics. I think that's primary school. We started that thing. They will tell us this person has 7 oranges. That has what is it called? This country has 7 oranges. There are many questions on set. If I still pour them out, but let's use this analogy. If you are here and you are using your pen and paper, draw one big circle. Have you drawn the big circle? If you have drawn the big circle, tell me that you have drawn one big circle. Have you drawn the big circle? I am not sure that you have drawn the big circle. Are you sure you have drawn one big circle? Okay. Draw another big circle, but ensure that that second circle you are drawing will cut across the first circle that you drew. That means there is a point whereby some part of the circle you are drawing is entering the first circle that you drew. So draw those circles that way. So there will be a place whereby it cuts across the first circle that you have drawn. I hope you understood that. Draw it that way. I don't say you should draw it so both of them will cut each other. So you have drawn the first big circle. Draw the other one so in such a way that it will cut across the other one. So if you have done that, you have already understood the not, the and the or operator. All right, so when you have done that, draw a big triangle. Sorry, a big square that will cover those circles, like cover them completely. That means we will still have space. Draw it that will cover that circle. I don't know if anybody is understanding this, but we have done it in primary school. That's what I know. So suppose what of us went to. Is there anybody that didn't go to primary school here? Is there anybody that didn't go to primary school? All right, so draw a big square to cover those circles. I covered. Let it not touch the circles because the only one I said I should cut across is the two circles. Then draw a big square that will cover all those two circles. All right. Do you know those two, that place, those two circles cut across, that space there, that little portion that you are seeing, that little portion, shade it, shade it, shade it, shade it. Then put an arrow, like label it, like bring out an arrow and label it. Say that is and. That's and. Something that must fall into between these two things where this place meets. All right. So that's the and I'm talking about. It's so little. It's just where both of them are together. Both of them are together. So that's the and. I hope you have done that. So you know both the place that you didn't shed, both from the point of the one that on the right circle and the left circle, both of them, those places, everything from the standpoint of the one in the middle, plus those places you did not shed. Shade them with another thing altogether. Shade them like maybe you shaded with vertical slope inside a small circle. Then shade those big circle, those remaining portions of the circle with maybe horizontal now. So the or operator is everything in those two circles. That's the or operator. Everything in those two circles. Everything in it. Then once you are done with that, you are done with the or operator. So it will include both the one inside and the one that is not joined, where those two circles didn't join, where they are separate, those portions. So that's the OR operator. Then the not, you remember the rectangle that I told you to draw to cover up that circle. So the not is the area of those rectangle where that circle is not shaded, those places where that circle, because those circle was shaded, right? The area that place covered inside, once that square covered those circles, those area, those places that were left, it is the not operator. So that means anything that is not in that circle, it is the not operator. So I think that this kind of thing would be able to help you remember what we did. I know we both did it, even if we are not in the same class. I know we did it. Our education system have not gotten that. Yes, it's not really encouraging, but I know that that one, they taught it. All right, that's what I wanted you to do. Who is raising up their hand? Stephanie. I would love even for somebody to post what they draw. Let me even ensure you people drew it well. Can somebody wait? Does the comment section allow to add an image? Ah, that's bad. That's bad. It doesn't allow. Doesn't allow. All right, Stephanie.
Okay, sir.
Stephanie, you can go ahead.
The diagram said it should draw for the OR operator. Is it the whole circle,
Yes.
even the one that is shaded and
For the what?
for the OR? Is
Yes,
the
it
one
is.
shaded and inclusive?
Yes, it is inclusive. The and plus every other place that was not shaded that you have to shade is the
Oh,
or. But the
okay.
and is just where those two circles cover, like meet together and cover a particular small area is the and. The or is everything in those two circles, whether joined or alone on their own. Then the not is the one that is not in those circles. That is that place that I told you to draw the rectangle and cover them. Those places, empty spaces that are not inside that circle is the not.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. It will still come out. Oh. It's still coming. I'll show you my own circle that I drew inside the slide. All right. That's okay. We can move forward if we are all good on that. All right. Okay. So is that all? How did you not reach 10 immediately? We have tried. Okay, okay, thank you. This is the style. So you can now see this place. This thing can be looking complex to you, but it's not complex. Let me just summarize this for you. Select select first name, last name, email, country from customers where country shouldn't be equals to Canada. Country can be any other thing. And country shouldn't be what? USA. So that means it will not bring in any country that is not, it will not bring any country that is Canada, and it will not bring in any country that is what? USA. So you see how powerful those combinations of, what did I say, operators they are? Ah, so you see how these logical operators are. So if you check what was printed for us, did you see Canada there? Did you see USA? Because we used the not operator. So if we are on the same page on all this explanation on operators, we can move forward. Stephanie, you can say something.
I would like to ask, but to use it like OR operator instead of the and, like not country equals to USA and not country equals to Canada, we'll get the same result, right?
If you use the or operator,
Yes.
where
For this,
country, yes, you'll get the same results.
okay. Thank you.
So, are we on the same page? So, if we are on the same page, let's talk about something that is enticing. I was saying something, I was giving us an analogy some time ago. I was saying with regards to the education system, I don't know about you or how your education system was structured, but the one I was talking about is the place where I come from. Should I mention it? For the sake of privacy, let's keep it that way. Um, what's it called? The institution I attended, of course, most institutions in Nigeria, as I'm giving as a case study, doesn't have this kind of data that is contiguous. Contiguous is more of, let me just say what I'm saying with regards to that, is that why should I be in an institution whereby I register when I entered, most of us entered institutions, whether primary school, secondary school, you filled in a biodata. They asked you probably everything about yourself, your mother, where you need, your address, everything. But yet, at each point of your registration in various units in the school, would require you to still re-enter those details again. Is that not frustrating? Is that not concerning? So why should I be kind of repeating information? Are you seeing where the issue of data being inconsistent come from? For most of you who have done things on database management, this is one of the problems of data inconsistencies, because that too much of feeling this, feeling that, feeling this. Sometimes somebody like, I didn't say that's what she do. Somebody like Stephanie, I didn't say that's what she did. Achononu, Abi, I think I got that thing well. Achononu Stephanie can start, they will ask her somewhere, please, what's your name? She will now write, my name is Stephanie Achononu, because there was no specification on first name and last name. Then some other places in her department, they will ask her, what is your name? Your first name. She will now say Stephanie. And then last name, they will now say Achononu. Okay. Then in another place, they now tell her, what is your surname? She will now say Achononu. And then another place she will say, and then they will ask her other names. She will now add Stephanie and one other name. This data is not the same person. To be honest, precisely those data are not the same person. That is why we have complications to today. Many of you that will be traveling out, I'm so sorry that you are probably going to be faced with this kind of inconsistencies in data. Your bank BVN, your bank information have different names because they just shortened it. They added what's it called? An acronym to represent your, to use your first letter of your name to represent your other name. But in your international passport, your name is well written out, your middle name and every other thing. Then in your birth certificate, your father's name plus the current surname you are answering was written there. So why all these things? Are you getting what I'm saying? I'm not, you are not asking me why am I addressing this. It's because I'm treating SQL, what really happens in SQL, because you can really be frustrated if you can't be able to join two various data that were collected, and those data are unique in their own, and you can just join them and obtain various information pertaining to someone. So let's take it this way. If you join an organization, you register with the admin. When you register with the admin, they will give you a form to fill. That's called administrative data. That form, you have your personal biodata. That is to say, your personal biodata. Right? So when you do that, there's something that is assigned to you. It's called a staff ID. All right. When you have a staff ID, with that staff ID, it can be pinpointed in the administration that this person is this person. They will get your first name, every other thing. That's your staff ID. When you are not being, maybe let's assume you came in as an intern, your data was collected like normal place. Then all of a sudden, when you are done with your internship, let's say 1 year, and you are given a position to serve as an analyst or a cyber ops person. When you be listed into that department, let me just tell you what they will ask you. They will give you a job description, and then they will give you a particular what is it called, thing to be doing. So the data they will collect from you is your staff ID, and then those things they have assigned you to do, your roles and responsibilities. Yes, that's what they collect. So the data they have about you is that you are now an analyst and you belong to this department in your company. That's what your department actually did collect about you. They didn't ask you those first name. They didn't ask you your last name. They didn't ask you your email. They didn't even ask you all those kind of questions. Then let's assume you are in the engineering. Of course, they will now assign you an email and I will say you are coming from this particular domain. So they didn't ask you all those information. Why? Because they know that is more like duplicating data. There is one common thing I just need to be able to track your data across the organization. Whether when I meet the people that are in charge of health, when I meet people that are in charge of admin, when I meet people that are in charge of every employee that's HR, when I meet the HR, I only need to get your staff ID, and with that, I can be able to seek out your data, whether in HR, whether in administration, and whether in your department or domain of expertise. So I can use your staff ID. So the same thing also applies. Why the whole story is to tell you that if data is stored in such a manner, it is easier for you to use SQL to retrieve multiple tables existing in HR, table existing in what's it called again, in administration. I can be able to just use that thing and join, because I know your staff ID. I can join those various tables and get all the information that I need. Did you all understand my little story? Eh? Did you understand my little story, or you are just listening to my story? Hmm? So the only thing I needed to know is that column that says staff ID. So in your HR department, she has the staff ID as one of the columns on her table, and every other thing she will need as the HR, maybe your performance rate and all those things. Then on the part of the admin, due to she's the one that will oversee to your onboarding, she will also have info, but the major information she will have is your column that says staff IDs. So your staff ID will be there. So staff ID now becomes a common thing I can use to reference across various tables that have something that was stored regarding you. So when we now use SQL, we can now be able to combine multiple tables that are stored about an individual or and something that we are trying to figure out or query out in our database. So, even having said that, there are types of joins, how we can be able to join these various tables. If you're able to draw the circle I said you should draw, this is where it comes into play. That's why I had to say you to draw it. Even though I use it to explain the and or operator, this is where the real thing gets sweet. So if you understand this, you have already understand everything pertaining to joining various tables together. Here is it. You know, every information you want to retrieve in SQL is records. What do I mean by record? Record is the horizontal part of the information. It's not the vertical. Vertical are columns. So the one we select when we do select is the column that we select. But what appears to us later on, once we have entered our selections and from where and the condition, it is the rows, because rows are those horizontal things which are called what? Records. So it tells us a particular person, everything about them. We can read it in a particular row. And when we go to the next row, we read another record pertaining to another person. So when we join tables, what do we join? What we invariably joins are columns, so that as to get out the records that we need across those tables. So that is why we join, to get records, to get rows, but we will use columns to join this table. So when we want to join table, there is one thing I want you to know is to find a common ground through which you are joining this table. If you're able to discover the common ground through which you are joining this table, is okay. And what is that common ground? What is that column that is in this table that is in the other table? If you figure it out, you can join any table. So what is that unique column that is here in this table, existing in this particular table, and it's also existing in another table, or existing in all the tables that you want to join. Is that clear? Did we get that? Did we get that? Okay, thank you. So first of the type of join we want to talk about is the inner join. Inner join is working like the AND operator. Inner join will only print things when it sees the rows that are matching each other in a what? Table. The rows that are matching each other in a table, that is what the inner join would what? Print out for us. So let's assume that you selected a particular columns, and then in that columns you selected first name, last name, what is it called again? In that particular unique column, let's say the unique column is registration number. Let's assume, let's use a school, since most of us either have had experience of higher institution or still in higher institution. If you are in the health, you want to go to the medicals, then your information was collected by the Senate when you are doing your registration. So let's assume your institution has data that is consistent. So we notice that one thing that is unique about all the data that have been collected or stored in form of tables, that rows and columns, is the columns that are what? Registration number. So if you want to do inner join, you have already considered, or any type of join, you must consider the columns that are what? Unique among those tables that you want to join. So aside from that, what does inner join do? Inner join, so far as you have mentioned that column that is unique, it will look through those columns, each row by row, and any row that it sees that matches each other. Let's say that it have checked the first row, checked the second row, and then in each row it has now come to see two reg numbers that are the same. Let's now assume your reg number that is in with the Senate is the same reg number that is appearing in the what? In the health sector. It must print it out. Why? Because that reg number on that particular row is matching, based on the column that we are selected, is matching on another what? Row in that particular table. So that means the common thing we have is the column that says reg number, but the rows will now be able to tell us which particular reg numbers are matching, given the rows that are unique among this table. So it will now print that particular reg numbers and their associated record. That means the records that are in that word regular. So now, if your name is Stephanie, I don't need Stephanie. Only what I need is that reg number that you have. It will print for me, joining the table from the Senate and the table from the health. I can now be able to know your first name, your last name, your age, your health status, that is your genotype, your blood group, and every other thing. So when I join table, what I'm invariably looking at is which inner join I'm talking about, which row is exact and is matching these two tables, given that the common columns among them is the same. So the common column there is reg number, but the row that is matching is that particular 2017 or 2018 or 2019. I don't know how reg numbers is being shared in your school. So that particular one, I'm going to print out everything pertaining to it. So that is what inner join does. It must match. If it doesn't see a match among all the rows pertaining to that columns that are unique in the two tables, that are common in the two tables, it will not print anything. So inner join works like the AND operator. It must match. It must the two rows at that specific column that are unique among them must match. That particular reg number, it must match for you to print out the associated records with them. Are you all with me on the inner join? Are you all with me? All right, thank you. So what is left join? Left join, you still remember that big circle that you drew? That big circle that you do. All the things in the left circle that you drew, all the things in the left circle that you drew, will come out. All the things in the left circle, including where the right circle joined, like that place they had, I asked you to label the AND operator. So when we do left join, we are saying bring out everything that is on the left circle plus everything where the left circle joined with the right circle. That means it's considering the portion of the place where the left circle didn't join with the right circle, and also the place where the left circle joined with the right circle. So that is to say, it will print all the rows in the left table, in the first table, and all the rows that are in the second table that are matching the rows in the first table. That is what left join does. So it will print all the rows in the first table plus all the rows in the second table that only matches the rows in the first table. That is what left join does. So these are the two things. Inner join, we only consider the two circle and what matches them, the rows that matches them. Left join, we consider all the rows in the first table, which is called the left circle now, and all the rows that in the right table that is matching with the first table or the left table or the left circle per se. Then what is right join? Right join is the same thing I've said now, but the other side. All the rows in the second table, or you call it the left circle. That's what I'm using the thing that set to better Venn diagram. Sorry, that's what that thing is called. Not really set. Set is used. Venn diagram is used to what depicts graphically sets. So all the rows in the right or the second table, right circle, you call it the second table, plus all the rows in the left table or the left circle that matches the row in the second table or the right circle. So that is the thing about right join. Then full outer join is everything in both the all the rows, whether they are matching or they are not matching, all the rows in both of the circles or tables, all the rows, it will print everything out for you. That is what the full outer join does for us. Are we all on the same page, or have I left you somewhere at a junction? Somebody, only one person is giving me thumbs up. Is that saying that is it a positive one? All right, Stephanie, you can say something.
Please, I'm very confused. Like
You said,
starting from I think like I'm very confused. I think I mixed it that inner joint. I don't even know like
but you
explanation
knew
is not
what
getting. Right.
you drew that circle I told you to draw.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
All right, that is what inner join is. The and that is what the inner. It must match the two rows. The rows in those two tables must match. So this reg number must match before it printed it out. But don't be confused. We are getting to that. Can you go to the next slide? So we'll use diagram to better explain. I think that's what comes next. All right, look at it. Stephanie, can you look at these four tables? Does it pass a message clearer to you now? Huh? If it doesn't, I can still further explain. Can you look at them? The first
Yes.
table, the first table that said left, right table, and then you are seeing the blue covering is the inner join. The first, sorry, image is the inner join. The one that has green covered at the center, blue covered at the center. All right. The one that is below it that has blue covered on the right table, all of it, is the right join. The one that goes by the top right hand is that has the left table covered is the left join, and the one that is down that has everything colored up is the full outer join. So when we talk about the inner join. We are saying that having known that a common column must match, that's the criteria for all of them. There must be a common column that will match the two tables you are trying to join. Whether inner join, full outer join, left join, there must be a column. Then when we now know, what we now do is to know the rows it will print for us, the rows that will get out. So that's where the thing is coming. So let's assume in the left table, the common column that we have identified among students is reg number. That's true. And we want to do an inner join. An inner join will check the first table, which is the left table, as we say, that's the first table. It will check it and say, let's assume that there is a reg number that says 20, 24, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the reg number that is in the particular column. And it will look at it, okay, this is the reg number. It will go to the right table and check, in this particular reg number column, is there any reg number like this? If it sees it, it will print out the record for from both of the tables. It will print them out. That's that particular record. When I mean record, the particular rules. That means from that particular reg number, it will print their first name, print everything that is on that row, because it saw a matching row based on the criteria of what the common columns among those two tables. So it saw a matching row. So it must print when it sees something, a row that matches. That means a row. When I mean a row, I'm saying based on the columns that we have identified that is a common similarities among those tables. So it will check the rows of that columns, that particular column that is common among. So if it sees that reg number here and sees it on the other side, it will not print that particular row from both of the tables. So that's why in the health, if the table is in the health, it's assumed to be the right table, and the table in your CNET building is assumed to be the left table. So it will print everything that pertains to you because you saw that reg number. It will print everything that it pertains to you there. And then based on the associated columns that you select, it will print everything. Then print everything about you in the health because it saw something that what matched it. That's inner join. Left join is more of, it will print every row in the other table plus every row in the first, it will print every row in the second table plus every row in the first table that matches the row in the second table. That is right join. So the only thing is it will print every row. It doesn't differentiate. It mustn't match. But for the other first table, sorry, it must print only things that match with those that are in the already predefined table, which is the second table. So I just want you to just kind of revolve around this image that is being presented. Does that still clear you, or is there something that you are finding it difficult to understand? You can raise up your hand and ask it. If it's not, then we can move on. I can be able to explain, go down, go deeper than what I am doing now. So you can invariably say something. Stephanie, did you understand? And then any other person on the call, do you understand? And let's see whether we'll move forward. If not, I will have to re-explain till we all get it. I'm still asking, are we all on the same page? Purity, Jacqueline, Karim, Victoria, Felicia, Praise, Stephanie, and every other person I can't see their names. All right, thank you. It looks like Adan is off. Have our system off. It seems like Adan is off. It's almost now that we are done, so. Okay, so what are we going to do? I think we need to cover that. So on Saturday, we do this practical to help round up on this particular course, then you can continue. If I still have any other time, by any chance, I will still come in again and then do another thing for you. It's all about learning, and then having the opportunity to still practice on your own. All right, welcome back, Adane. So that's on what I was saying with regards to joining two tables and how it works. Assuming I am in Excel, if most of you have done Excel, I would have been showing you, if I was sharing myself, I will show you how these things work, how this data are eliminated, and how this data stored because of some certain. I'll just show you what it means when we say matching. I'll now be able to show you what it means. What actually, when you join this table, what will come out from it. But we'll still see something on that. If this person can share my slide. Adana, are you okay? Adana, are you still with us? She has left again. It looks like she is affected by network. So I can still say something that if you are not understanding anything, you can always raise up your concern. Let's tackle it while we wait for Adana to still come on board and help us to share the screen. Hello. Is there anybody else on the PC? Like, it's just remaining few things for us to conclude on. I don't know. It seems like I don't know is having a little bit of issues. Yeah. All right, that's true. Somebody sent in an image in the group, and I know that's exactly what I was saying. That's what exactly I'm saying. Everything all right. That's all. So somebody said I think that's depicts what I was trying to relate. So is there any person that can help us here to? It's just remaining few part of it. Adana, are you on board? Hello? Have she left again? It seems it's from her network. But I think we are almost done with that. I don't know if there is no other person with system to help us to share. I guess that we have to be dropping off from here. Even I know that it's just remaining to lay more emphasis on the and to show you how the commands work. That's what is remaining. How each of those commands work, how it is written out. So it's just a appendum of something like select this, and this from this, inner join this, then just to show you how the command works so that you bear it in memory and then you can be able to relate with it. So that when we'll be doing our practical on Saturday, full-time practical as usual. So be prepared, prepare us, I think 2 hours straight. So you can be able to relate and then supply me with some of the questions I'll be asking you based on what I've explained so far. Is there any person else on the PC that can help us? If that's not so, I think I might keep this remaining part of this slide. It's just that it will now require us to revert to it again so as to refresh our memory in order to continue with it. So, but I think with that, I think we are probably
Sir, I'm
good.
on PC now. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right,
Okay. I
I
think
can
she's
see your
back. Like I'm trying to
presentation.
on my
Thank you.
system now.
Please, I'm sorry, my
Okay,
network
she's
is
back.
weird.
She's back.
All right, Adana, can you okay? There is something on that slide I want to see. The syntax of inner join. All right, you can go down to the slide so that we'll continue from there. All right, so look at the syntax Sorry, I think you have gone past it. So look at the syntax for each type of join. It's just to know it follows a streamlined process. So look at, you have to select the columns that you want it to print. You have to still select the columns that you want it to print. Yes, so that when it's printing out the rows, it will not consider those columns. So it will not print more things. So select the columns. For the instance, you are seeing select all columns from the employee. Employees is the first table. Inner join it with machines table. On what basis are you joining them? On what basis are you joining? That's what inner join employees table with machine, on the basis that employees dot device id is a column name that is common between employees table and machines table. So we are saying on the basis that employees dot device id, that's the device id columns in the employees table, is equals to machines dot device id, that's the device id column in machine. So this is the point of the condition you have to establish where both of these things have a column in common. So that's the syntax. You have to select the particular columns it will consider. From which tables are we joining? From employees in adjoining to what? Machine. On the basis where device id, that's employees dot device id, that's a column in the employees table, is equals to the same columns that is on the machines table. So that's the condition. So it will not print for us with the inner join. It will only print for us the rows that are the same. When we say inner join, the same, if it checks the device id column and it sees that this device id is appearing, there is a particular role in device id, let's say 19260, in the employees table that is matching the particular role, a particular entry in the machine device id column. So it will invariably print all those what, all those rows, given that the various columns we have specified will be printed as well. So this is the syntax for writing them. You will only know that what is changing is whether we are doing inner join, we are doing left join, we are doing right join, and we are doing full outer join. So those are the things that are changing. But this is the syntax for writing out this kind of joining two or more tables together. So are you with me on this? All right, you can go down to the next slide. You can still see that what I'm saying is the same way. Then you can go down to the next slide. It's still the same thing. Right join is, sorry, right join is still the same thing. Outer join, they are still, it's just what is changing. But if you have understood the thing of what I'm saying, when we say right join, left join, inner join, full outer join, then you have already gotten a glimpse of what you should be expecting as your output when you use or utilize any of these commands. So be specific when they are asking you, be relational when they are asking you things. When they just tell you where this thing and this thing is, you already know it is the and. That's why I took time to explain the Venn diagram. When they ask me, okay, print for us all the things in this particular table, but also other things that are matching from the other table, you have already known what this person is talking about. So you can revert every of these. Either you say machines, from machines, right join it with employee. That means you are considering the machines as the first table and the employees as the second table. So any of the table can take any of those positions depending on what you are trying to achieve. So I guess that's all on the topic of SQL usage in the Linux command line. You can go down and down. From the first slide, there is practical, two practicals that we have to do, and then plus these three. So that's 5 practicals. What is it called? To do lab activities that we'll be doing. So prepare your mind. I think we'll be taking 30 minutes for each of those practicals on Saturday. So prepare your mind. If I think not more than, but should be around 30, up at most 30 minutes for each of the practical, because I want a certain question. I want to see it work. You will see it work. You will see it being printed out on your screen. You ask your question and it's being answered. So those are the five practicals we'll be having. And I know why I kept it on Saturday. So by His grace, I think by then they would have restored everything that is happening currently, and then also for me to uh, make out time to secure extra power just in case. So I just hope that it will work out. We're able to do it the way we did the Linux one and covered up the practical. We will also be able to do this. So I guess that should be all. 15 has to do with what's slide 15. I think it has to do with the review or your takeout from the whole thing. So having known this, and then you can go to the slide 15, the last slide. Having known this, what's your take on? Your take on is that anytime you know you have a structured form of data, use the Linux command. Anytime you know you have a structured form of data organized in tables, which is columns and rows, use SQL to be able to harness the power of filtering and getting out the information you do. So with that, I think I've come to the end of this class, and I am open towards your questions and every other thing that you have, your concerns, so that we could be able to bring rest to the situation. Thank you very much. Ah, today that nobody is raising up their hands. Are we all good to go? So we all understood. They said they all understood though. Hmm. It is well. So I think I've fulfilled my own bargain. By Saturday, I think I should be able to. So I think I have fulfilled one thing. I said I will be able to do extra for you, or which is this SQL. Then if also anytime your tutor say that he might not really be chanced, might not really be chanced or something, I can just come in. But I hope that it will not disrupt your learning, because at times learning a particular stream of thing and then somebody else coming with another topic, it might be really confusing. But in the sense, faithful and what is it called? And faithful and Stephanie, what's the situation? You can take the mic and talk now.
Okay,
You
sir.
can
The
say
thing is,
something.
yes, I'm not going to ask the question now. Maybe after the practical, because I'm still getting like confused with inner joint. So maybe after like I see a real life simulation, I can now see if I'm still confused, or
All
if you want to like, see these things and have kind of.
all right, there's no problem. If I was on my system, I can quickly load an Excel, create two different tables that have a common this, and then show you how each inner join works. I know by that thing, giving you the visual experience, you will never better. So, but when we enter into the practical, I hope you do be able to better comprehend. All right. So, but I think it's something that we can easily relate to it. It's rather, I think there was nothing visual to represent that. But when we get to the practical, there would be. I wanted to use Excel to show you all. If you understand Excel, like how tabular ordering works, you can know better. It's okay. So,
Okay, sir.
aside that, any other thing?
Sir, though me, I'm just laughing anyway. Sir, first and foremost, I know you're holding me one thing, Sha, which is you said I should come to your DM so that you put me through. I know that is a stand. I'm trying to look for time so that I can come to your DM for that Lunos
Okay.
and all that. So that is one. But this SQL, I would like what she said. Me, I don't really get it. I don't really understand it. Let me not just lie. But I want to ask a question. Is it that this SQL is just like Excel, like you said? Is it like Excel? Because at first it gets to do with those table and all that. though it will not be particularly like Excel, but it look like there is some things attached to it. I don't really know if I'm correct. That is one thing I want to ask.
Well, it is not like Excel. I just said I wanted to use Excel because it has this kind of structure for columns and rows with regards to table. But let me tell you what this SQL, like the basic foundation of how you can know where you have seen it play itself. How many of you have used Access, Microsoft Access before? If you have been opportune to use Microsoft Access, created tables, I don't know how many of you were able to use that application, Access. That was the simplest form of database management system then, the basic one. So if you used Access, that is the kind of experience SQL is trying to bring to us. It's trying to show us we can do more things outside of the normal create one table. They will not tell you foreign key, let this table, how this table is linked to this table. And so those things they are trying to do is what SQL is doing here, bringing two tables together that have common similarities in column. So the better thing that expresses this SQL, the way it works, is access, not Excel. Excel is more of calculations. Excel is a calculating spreadsheet. So that's it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So have you been with us from the beginning of the SQL class?
Like what I do say, I'm always at the middle. Even today, I even came late. I'm always in between, in between. In fact, me myself, I'm
Ah,
even tired. I did not start with you guys on this SQL at all, at all, at all. So that is why I'm a little bit confused about it.
all right, there is no problem. Well, there is still an opportunity to see you. Well, this is recorded. Rewatch, read
Yeah,
the slide
exactly.
alongside, and then get it. Because I know that there was a reason why I don't do question and answers after classes. I don't like it. Why? Because when you are done, really, you to take you back. But if we do question and answer that's what we do at each point of the slide. It will help to clear you so that you better understand the next slide. Because if you are not cleared on the first slide, you can't be able to migrate. This slide has a flow. So, and if you come in late, to be honest, you are going to actually have a little bit of issue getting, and that's why it's good to, that's why I even start late, like 10 minutes. But whichever case, you still have an opportunity to rewatch. Meanwhile, like, if there is still anything, I always say that the Telegram group is open. If you don't want to ask an open air question, you can still enter my DM and ask me your questions.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, there is no problem. So, is that all? Are we good to go? Or is there any other thing? All right, I think everybody is satisfied and okay. Okay, so you can call it a day then. So, see you all on Saturday. Prepare yourself for whatever we will be doing. Just make out time. Please do make out time. The Linux own, I don't know how many people that remain to the end. It was just few people that remained to the end. Meanwhile, thank you for the person who helped us to present today. Thank you very much for covering this. It is really a lot, to be honest. It's really a lot. Because at this point, everything is not ascertained. This is the kind of power losses that we have. Thank you all for attending. Thank you time for making out time. And I hope that you will remain committed towards the end and the remaining